Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today, once again, we're revisiting how to beat Tenkyu on step 100, totally F2P. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, Tenkyu is one of the easiest VR bosses out there. Honestly, the most notable characteristics of this boss are that it is kinda tanky and that it has, I guess, big AoEs, but that's about it. Honestly, it's not that impressive. It doesn't have like important immunities or nothing like that, so it's gonna be pretty simple for the most part. Again, even though this is for 100, I do it on 200 because I have pretty good awakening skills, and that's why I put an extra challenge on my account. Now, what do we have over here? So let's talk a little bit about Tenkyu and on how this enemy works and what it's gonna do. So Tenkyu is very bulky. It's a machine type enemy, and it's going to have two stages, similar to Worm Knight. Tenkyu is divided into stages. The first stage is just Tenkyu. You just have to beat it, and that's it. The second stage it's going to be Tenkyu and a bunch of random machine enemies. The notable thing about these enemies is that some of them are able to cast a laser that is going to stun the characters who get hit by it. That's kind of the noticeable thing about this. The enemies get resummoned every now and then, so keep that in mind. You basically want to clear that, and the objective, of course, is just to break the super armor so that Tenkyu stops acting. That's the objective on challenging content. So the more damage you have, the better. Unfortunately, we have a pretty good attacker who is able to abuse that characteristic. Now, what do you want to do when fighting Tenkyu? Since Tenkyu is in a medium-sized stage, it's kind of big, but not as big as Worm Knight, or at least it doesn't seem that way because Tenkyu is pretty big by comparison. You want range attackers, and you want a taunter. Basically, that's about it. Someone who has healing capabilities to just keep the enemy busy. For example, Murasaki. Murasaki is probably one of the best picks for this role. You use Murasaki along with two range attackers, and you're gonna deal with this boss pretty easily, just like that. Because Green Murasaki is basically unkillable as long as it's tanky enough, because every attack is gonna be healing her, and she's also going to inflict a pretty substantial debuff, defense debuff onto the enemy, and that's going to accelerate things. So that's pretty good strategy. Another reliable strategy is to use Felicia. Why Felicia? Felicia nowadays is a pretty respectable attacker, and most importantly, she enables healing for the party. She has a special debuff called Mark, and when you apply this debuff to the enemies, you're going to be able to heal. And that way, she's going to heal herself and allow to heal your attackers in case they receive some amount of damage. That's why she's the best for this one. You can use Lapis, sure, why not? It is a viable option. She's just not as proficient as Felicia in this context. That's about it. Like, Lapis is the generic option that always works, but she's not as proficient against these enemies because you want more damage than you want healing, because the range attackers won't receive that much damage. So yeah, Felicia's better in this case. You can use basically any melee attacker, even if they don't have healing, as long as you. I'm kind of stuttering a bit, but as long as you have enough HP recovery with the supporters that you equip. things like your Akinas, things like the Susunes, whatever you can equip that provides healing is gonna help you out on these stages. Not to mention the damage reduction. The damage reduction is gonna be pretty useful, so keep those effects in mind. That's what you want to do for your taunter. Like for example, Kirara isn't that great at healing. She has two weapons that help her with that because she doesn't have healing skills. But if you equip her with these weapons, she's going to be able to heal. But she has some other features like the ability to debuff the enemy to reduce the speed, to apply freeze. So that's the benefit of using this character. Whichever character you select as your taunter is fine, even if they don't have natural healing. It's better if they have their own way of healing, but if not, just use your supporters with healing capabilities. Your Misakis, your Susunes, your Lamarcks, whatever you have. So, let's check exactly what build I'm using. Again, as usual, I'm using the Nemofuma. I'm always going to be using the Nemofuma on these videos. Then we have Maika. Maika is an excellent character to fight against this enemy because it has an F2P weapon, a Wicked Star F2P weapon that is going to deal extra damage to machine type enemies. And that's Riot Weapon 10-9. This weapon is just amazing. Mike is such a great attacker. And on top of being a great attacker, she has an excellent weapon against machine. It's insane. It is one of her best weapons. I mean, it is limited to certain stages, but it is pretty proficient at those stages. So be sure to grab a copy of this one. It's pretty useful. We're using anti-machine wind Magatamas. We're using whatever Magatamas on the sublot, whatever weapon on the sublot, 5 out of 5, plus 15, plus 13. Then, we are going red on this build. For that we use Death from Above, Ruthless Explosion, and Carpet Bombing. Carpet Bombing, basically we're not going to use, but it's just in case a stray enemy gets near us, or maybe the boss decides to go to Maika's position in that case. But basically you're going to rely on Ruthless Explosion and Death from Above. Those are going to deal the most damage. For supporters, we have Stella, we have Nino Waver, and Susune. If you don't have these ones, like there's a ton of good options. We have the classic Homura, we have the Granny, we have many great options, and these are just the F2P ones. If you go with permanent supporters, you have Fuyutsuki, you have Yukina, so just add damage increase. That's gonna be it for this character. It's all that it needs. Stats of the customs, stat training, and then we have Felicia herself. This Felicia, I wanted to go pure green, but I didn't, because I didn't want to use double copies. I could do that, but I want to be as F2P as possible, and considering that many people don't have double copies of certain supporters, I said, well, mono copies, only one copy. So I have the Amber Sight, 5 out of 5 plus 10, and whatever weapon 5 out of 5 plus 15 on the subslot. I have Water, anti-machine Magatamas with whatever attack Magatamas on the subslot. Slaying Spree, it doesn't matter the attack buff on the third slot. What we need is the speed reduction. That's pretty useful. It's the only thing that really matters. Then, Vampiric Sun to keep the healing going. And lastly, we have Sanguine Smash, which is also going to keep the healing going. And it reduces the target's defense by 30% for 10 seconds. And you only need 2 green supporters. That's why I decided to go mix, because I don't need the extra damage with this particular character. It's just good enough as it is. Then we have Misaki, of course, for the extra healing and damage. We have Sakuya to reduce incoming damage. And we have Mitsuki just to increase damage a little bit more. Honestly, you do want some form of damage reduction. If I wasn't limiting myself, I would go pure by equipping Hisui over here. You can also equip the limited Kirara to reduce damage taken on green. The thing is, green isn't exactly the best color for damage reduction. It is really limited. Soon enough, we're gonna be getting the banner for Holy Knight Rinko, and that's a balance supporter for green. That's pretty useful, and you could use this one if you want on this build. Just keep that in mind. Now, stats of the customs, stat training, and lastly we have over here Sora. Sora we know is one of the best damage dealers. Even without the weapon, it's gonna be pretty good. So, Viridian weapon 5 out of 5 plus 13, whatever weapon 5 out of 5 plus 15. We have the anti-machine Thunder Mega Damage with whatever attack Mega Damage on the subslot. We have Celestial Fox, Chosen, and Fox Flame. Wait a moment. Do I have Misaki? Let's see. No, I'm not using Misaki. Yeah, that's right. I swear I thought I was equipping Misaki. No, but I do want this active. This active is pretty good. So let's see the supporters. We have Arabella, which is a pretty nice damage increase supporter, though the disadvantage is that this is not going to work against the mobs. Even so, it doesn't matter. We want to deal more damage to the boss. Then we have Granny, and lastly we have Barretta. Why Vacation Barretta? So this gives a small, well, a medium-sized damage increase, which is fine. But the most important part is that a 30-second cooldown for the active that gives us a 10-second speed reduction within the area. And that's a 40% speed reduction. God, that's good. This enemy is pretty slow. So the moment you activate that, it's gonna be devastating for the enemy. It's not gonna be able to move. If you combine this with a slow strategy, this would be amazing, honestly. Like, use Blue Phantasma and this supporter, and the enemy is not going to move. As simple as that. Then, we have the stats of the customs, stat training, and let's do the run. Honestly, wait, 200, perfect, 200. So, it's gonna be pretty simple. For the most part, we just let Felicia keep the enemies occupied while we just deal a tremendous amount of damage, and that's it. The thing is, like, even though I say a tremendous amount of damage, it isn't that great, because look, we have the protect damage reduction, and both our damage dealers are protect. So yeah, well, it is what it is, but it doesn't matter. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this on before the timer runs out for the auto clear, but it's fine. Let's see. I'm just going to activate the slow and keep the enemy occupied. And Micah, what are you doing? Where are you looking? Micah, do your job. Deal damage. My god. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, nice. So it has the maximum amount of debuffs. We use the ultimate. And yeah, I'm not gonna be able to clear this. It's already past the minute. I mean, on time for the auto clear. But it doesn't matter. This is only about clearing this on step 100. F2P. The time doesn't matter as long as you are able to have the maximum amount of drops and you just clear that objective, because it is a pretty big achievement for most players to reach step 100. Besides, you get rewards for that, so yeah. Okay, good. Now let's do another run with a different team. Micah is gonna be the main attacker this time, but we're gonna check her at the end. First of all, the supporters. Tokiko, one of the best debuffers in the game. This one is able to perform the healing role thanks to the supporters and the healer role. And let me think what else about her. Yeah, she is pretty F2P. That's the other thing. Like, thanks to this weapon, she has the Momochi effect maxed out with an SR weapon that you can get 5 out of 5 pretty simple. So that's great. We have anti-machine wind Magatamas, whatever attack Magatamas on the subslot, whatever weapon, 5 out of 5 plus 15, you know. Uh, Magpipe to have range attacks, Hummingbird to reduce the speed of the enemy, and Clairvoyance to. No, Hummingbird. I'm not using Hummingbird on this one. You can, but in this particular case, I prefer to go with Blast and Clairvoyance. Both of these skills on green, well, Clairvoyance always reduces the defense of the enemy, but this one further reduces the defense of the enemy. And Blast is going to apply another defense down, so it's going to allow us to deal so much damage. Then we have Lamarck to increase healing for the party and have a little bit of damage and have an extra healing active. Then we have Yachio. Since we have the basic enhancer, we're going to generate more particles, and Yachio is going to constantly heal the party. So we don't have to worry about being like super tanky because you have a ton of healing. And over here we have Mitsuki. Though, honestly, if you have some form of green damage reduction, put that. Like we right now have the founding tree, which is great, but having the Hisui is way better. Why do I say so? Because you want damage reduction. Like this is not a character that wants to get hit. It's going to get hit because it's mid range with these skills, but we want to reduce damage as much as possible so that she can perform her supportive role. Then, stats of the customs, stat training, and then we have Phantasma. Phantasma is just a phenomenal unit. It is so good. We're using a Viridian Karma Sphere, 5 out of 5 plus 13, and whatever weapon 5 out of 5 plus 15. Anti-machine wood Magatamas with whatever Magatamas on the subslot. Then we have red, as you can see. Slash horror to get near the enemy. But if you are too frail, if you're not tanky enough, change this skill for Phantasmal Mirror. That's gonna help you out. Then Crunching Fear and Twister Dancer to get a ton of healing. For this, we go with Lilim, Gal Lilim, and Furfur, Vacation Furfur. And at the end, we have Susune. Susune is going to ensnare the enemy and provide us with healing and damage increase. It is an amazing combination. If you still struggle with damage reduction, there's options, though not all of them are F2P. Major is going to reduce damage tremendously because look at this. Machine enemies are going to deal 50% less damage. No, that's, well, it gives you damage reduction and it's substantial. Aoi is there, not the best option, but doable. Momochi Nagi, such a great supporter. Like, it's basically better than this one. And it is viable because we're suppressed, so you can use that one. Use whatever you want, but you want this to be tanky. Because this is a second supporter. This one is going to reduce the enemy's defense when near that enemy. So it is just that. Basically, that's it. And we have the stats of the customs, stat training, and then we have Micah. Though you saw that I have the weapon, I'm not going to use the weapon. I'm going to abuse the supporters instead of the weapon. So I have the Crimson Karma weapon, 5 out of 5 plus 13, and whatever weapon 5 out of 5 plus 15. Then we have the Electric Magatamas, Anti-Machine Magatamas, with whatever attack Magatamas on the subslot. We have Made of Flame, we have Crimson Lotus. Honestly, this is just a filler, and Carpet Bombing in case of an emergency. I'm just going to be abusing Made of Flame. That's about it. Due to the fact that I'm the one piloting this character, I can commit to use Made of Flame because I know the range and I'm going to deal a good amount of damage. The enemy has an extremely big AoE that can be pretty dangerous. But, well, I don't have to worry about this. Oh, now that I think about it, I can change this one. I can change it. I was going to use a rainbow build, but Oh, wait. No, no, no. Yeah, I don't have this one. So I can put Misaki, which is going to give us more mileage because I don't have a pure human tilt. So Misaki instead of Lamarck. And let's continue. So for supporters, I'm going to be using Arabella. I'm going to be using Lilim. And I'm going to be using Micah. All of these are going to increase my damage. Basically, you can commit to be a damage dealer, a pure damage dealer, because as long as you have a taunter, the enemy is not going to focus on the ranged attackers. Since there are not as many enemies, and in LWS squad, the enemies used to be next to the boss, so you're not gonna have problems with that. Stats of the customs, stat training, well, it's the same. So let's go. Again, the name of Fuma, that's not gonna change. So the one thing that I need to do is to let my supporters get near the enemy, and then I reposition and deal constant damage to the enemy. Just like that. And I'm gonna use the active too. Yeah, perfect. Good enough, honestly. Like, maybe it's not the best, but it's working. Like, I have enough healing thanks to the Yachio supporter, which is constantly going to heal the characters. Yeah, that attack can be pretty devastating, but I am like super tanky thanks to the awakenings. There. Now that I think about it, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the weapon skills active, nor the ultimates active. So my characters are not going to use their ultimates, but your characters can. Though I'm not sure how much you want to use your ultimates if you have Yachio, because you want those particles for the healing. Okay, nice. There. The good thing about carpet bombing is that if you position yourself properly, you can deal damage constantly, like this. Yeah, I am tanky, but that could be pretty devastating, just so that you know. Okay, ultimate to eliminate the enemies, and there. Nice. No, I didn't do that in less than a minute, but even so, pretty good for the most part. Like, it is a pretty reliable strategy. Extremely simple, honestly. Now, let's do one more just for fun, because there's so many ways in which you can do this. And, well, I could use Murasaki because she's the easy option. But let's use something a little bit different, okay? Because I said that characters who don't have healing are able to do this. So I'll select a character who doesn't have healing. But it has to be a protective character, so that I make it tanky. Someone without healing who provides some form of utility. Okay, the Kirara. I'll do the Kirara. The thing is, this Kirara is not going to have utility, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Like, the best she can do is Frigid Zone, which is going to increase the speed and defense decrease by 50%. Okay, that's nice. Critical, no. Increases speed. Reduce enemies' speed, acceptable. Freezes the target. Glacier Drop. Okay, we're gonna use these 3 skills, and I'm gonna go blue. What am I gonna use? It's pretty simple. I'm just gonna go extremely tanky with where is it? I'm gonna use the Nana over here, followed by the Sakuya, and lastly we put the whichever healing option you have. That's great. Like, the Kirara is the best option. If you have the Murasaki, that's also great. But let's go completely F2P, and for that we have the Akina. Classic Akina. And I'm gonna change the main because the speed reduction is gonna be pretty useful. So we have speed reduction, and freeze. Pretty good. And for the custom, we use the default one. So on the weapons, I want to use wood Magatama. So we put this, and let's see, I'll use light, just like that. Perfect. So we have the Viridian weapon 5 out of 5 plus 13, whatever weapon 5 out of 5 plus 15. We have the wood Magatamas, anti-machine wood Magatamas, whatever Magatamas on the subslot, Blossoming Fog, Frigid Zone, Glacial Drop, Sakuya, Nana, Akina, Stats of the Customs, and Stat Training. Yeah, that's on. Then, I want a range attacker that works as a healer. No, I can do the second healer on my main. But which range attacker? I already used these two. The thing is, like, there are not that many options that work well on this stage. Astaroth, though strong, you don't want to use it unless you pilot her. She's not smart enough on the AI, and the skills aren't that great for this particular stage. You can, though it's kind of awkward, because for the blue build you need to get near the enemy, and for the red one you need to be at least on mid range. And with the huge AoE, you're exposing yourself without reason, so I do not recommend it. Who is range that actually works? Could do Aina. I don't want to do Aina, but I could do Aina. Well, I guess let's do Aina. Why not? Let me just check which color. It's gonna be red then. We go red Aina with bullet dance and which one? Oh, the healing. Yeah, I definitely want the healing. So, let me check the weapons. Okay, I'll use the summer weapons because I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't have PvP weapons for Yuki, so I'll just get this one that gives me particle charge, and it's not really the strongest effect. So I'll use wind, anti-machine, one of these, the other ones, yes, perfect. And then I'll use ice, I guess. Perfect. So the summer weapon 5 out of 5 plus 14, whatever weapon 5 out of 5 plus 15, anti-machine wind Magatemas, ice whatever Magatemas on the subslot. We go with triple burst, bullet dance, and drone shooter. Drone shooter for the healing, basically. That's the reason why we do it. And we have to go red. Since we go red, we want the Susune for the healing and the CC, along with Stella. Stella's good enough. And the Nino, because she has more enchantment than Granny. That's why. Stats of the customs, stat training, and lastly, we're gonna equip. I guess I wanted to do this with Momochi. Momochi's such a great attacker, pretty strong character, also great design. I mean, she's amazing. So here we have the weapons. So thunder, let's see, thunder. Yeah, I put the thunder Magatemas, and I put whatever attack Magatemas. Let's say these ones. Perfect. So the amber weapon 5 out of 5 plus 14. The crimson weapon 5 out of 5 plus 13. See, it is 5 out of 5, yeah. So anti-machine electric Magatemas, whatever Magatemas on the subslot. What color? Yeah, green. I'm gonna go green. So I have to put flutter, a storm dance, and I'm gonna use sword style, Momochi sword style. Why this and not mirage? Because of the mobs on the second wave. That's why, basically. So for this one, I'm gonna be using Misaki, and I'm also gonna be using let's see. Let me check. A ton of defense. Healing. I need extra healing, guys, so I'm gonna use Yachio. Unfortunately, I don't think I have a better healing alternative. We need like something like Yachio, but that also gives damage increase. A slight damage increase would be more than enough. It would be an excellent effect. I wish this supporter got buffed with 20% damage increase. That would be more than enough to justify using this on a main attacker. Let's see. And yeah, no, wait, human. It's the same. You can use either Mitsuki or Lydia. Both are viable options. They are the best damage increase for assist on this kind of character. Honestly, like F2P. I mean F2P. So yeah, skills, stats of the customs, stat training, the name of Fuma as usual, and let's do this last run. So I'm just going to show you how viable it is. As long as you have healing capabilities for the party on other characters, you can commit to using a character who doesn't have their own healing skills. Pretty good, nice. This one gives defense? No. Defense reduction? No, it's not defense reduction. It's another effect. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're dealing very good amounts of damage. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Momochi style. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not going to destroy the enemy. Oh, I forgot about the fact that Aina is going to be providing healing on top of everything. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. Though the area is not going to cover all the stage, it's gonna work. And the main objective of that skill is not to heal Aina herself, but Kirara. Kirara is the one who needs healing. You might be thinking, what do you mean, JC? What do you mean? Kirara hasn't taken damage at all. Like, she's so tanky. Yeah, of course she's tanky. She has like 70% damage reduction. It's not exactly that, but oh god. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay. Yeah. Even so, it's fine. Okay, that's why I want to eliminate the mobs, and that's the reason why I use the the range attack melee enhancer, the basic enhancer, because those enemies stunning me is pretty annoying. So wow, the lasers, I love the lasers. Yeah, okay, that can be, I mean, I remember it being devastating. Now it doesn't deal as much damage. I just need to do this one once and I heal enough. Yeah, constantly hitting the enemies, interrupting their actions, healing, and done. As simple as that. As I mentioned, this enemy isn't that difficult because it doesn't have immunities. It is pretty bulky. The most menacing aspect of this enemy is the AoEs. Honestly, it's not even worth mentioning the skills that it does. The only one that really matters is that circle that it casts. Is the one that it casts the most. So, yeah, it is a pretty simple boss. I hope you find this useful and that you can use different builds and you use characters in different ways. Honestly, like, most people won't think about using Kirara as a tank, even though she's tanky. The fact that she doesn't heal enough prevent them from looking at her that way. But you can rely on damage reduction and healing from other sources. Like, I don't have a dedicated healer per se. I have healing capabilities with Aina, but she's not a dedicated healer like Lapis or Felicia. And the same can be said about Momochi, but she's helping out the party with Yachio and with Misaki, and just that's enough to keep Kirara on the game. So, yeah. Well, anyways, that's about it for today. I hope you find this useful, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!